go ahead and give him a call.
You suck, dude. Do you not read text messages?
I'm just now reading it. Hey, man, just wanted to give you a heads up that I won't be ready until approximately 10:15, 10:20. Just getting back in town. I got to go pick up a pizza.
Pizza.
Wait a second. Are you going to eat a fucking pizza while talking?
No, but I'm going to eat a pizza after we're done talking, and I don't feel like driving out into town, into Cracksville, and dealing with the crackheads out. Because, like, after midnight, that's when it's, like, wild, wild west, dude. The cops hide.
Really?
Everybody hides.
Have you been out and about during then?
Yes. I will never do it again, dude. The things I've seen.
How far of a drive is it?
It's not far. It's like 10 minutes. But give me, like... 10 minutes to run this stuff upstairs real quick, and I'll call you right back, okay?
All right.
I'll call you back, man.
All right. This motherfucker. You know, this is why you can't have nice things. You try and do something nice, get this shit going, friendships back on track, and then last minute 9:59 text saying go fuck yourself. What's up with that? How are you supposed to handle that? So now here I am, and I'm gonna sit in this car for 10 fucking minutes. 10 minutes? He said 10 minutes to go run this up to my room, and then I'll be back. Is he going to take a shit? What takes 10 minutes? Are you not moving quicker? Oh my God. On the night that I'm going to go ahead and finish this pod, and then go edit and upload it so it can get out on time, is the night that he decides to pull this shit. Now, why wouldn't you go fucking 15 minutes earlier then to go get the pizza? At what point were you like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get pizza. You weren't hungry already? You were just being lazy? Oh, my God. I don't know how to kill 10 minutes of time. I think it's only been like 2. But I feel like that's more than enough time for someone to come pull into their parking spot, go up to their hotel room, drop their fucking pizza off, come back down, and be ready. Do you think he's like doing the whole checking in process right? There's no way. There's no way. He would have already done that for sure. He's already got his room key. He's got all that stuff. Man. Sober people, you know. I take that back. That's these fucking sober people are so selfish. I don't mean that. For most of them. I mean, he is. Yeah, Mike is. But the other ones, you're not. Probably. I mean, they probably exist. Oh boy, this is insane. I'm 4 minutes into this recording now, and still talking to myself. Not exactly how I thought this whole thing would go, if I'm being honest. I don't understand, because he always just calls in, so why wouldn't he just hold his phone while doing it? You know what I mean? Like just talk, because you're talking on your fucking phone anyways. So I don't see what the issue was. If all you're doing is dropping a pizza off, just talk on your fucking phone. Right? Boy, oh boy. Unless he has like a knife in one hand because he's just in such a shitty neighborhood. And he's just got like his head on a swivel, He's just like, motherfuckers, where are you? Huh. That's probably not the case at all. He might even be getting mugged right now. What if I was on here till like 10:30, try to call him like 10 times back, and this motherfucker's just dead, bleeding in the parking lot? I hope that doesn't happen either. This would be the shortest podcast series ever. I don't have a lot to talk about. I'm just killing time. That's all I'm doing right now, is killing time. And I know, as a listener, you're probably thinking, hey, jackass, why don't you just start when he calls back? And I'll tell you why. Because I told him I was going to start at 10 p.m. I was going to call you at 10 p.m. I called him at 9:59. And this happens. I'm punctual. So as far as I'm concerned, this podcast happened and started 6-7 minutes ago. And that's how we're rolling. That's how we're going to do it. And I'm just going to keep killing time. I don't know what else to talk about. Not a lot going on. I think that we decided that this podcast was going to be about politics, which should be interesting, because it'll be a shit show for sure. I mean, like, because I don't know much, because I don't care. However, regardless, you're always subjected to it. You always have to hear. It's just gonna bleed in. Doesn't matter. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on Instagram. I have a Facebook, but I do not go on it. I've had that since college days. I'm not connected to the world in those, like, via those channels. However, I still get all the news just by proxy. It just, you cannot get away from it. And therefore, I think I'd probably be a perfect example of the people that get their news, or, their news update, like, especially when it comes to politics, secondhand. I might be a good example of people who are totally fucking misinformed, because I'm not out there trying to figure it out myself. I will tell you one thing. I do think that they should have some sort of amnesty test. Is that the right word? Amnesty? That they should do it so people who are allowed to vote are able to prove themselves that they know what's going on in the world, what's going on in their country and in their city. I think that's the way to go, because I want people who are smarter than me making those decisions. I understand that it's for everyone, but I think it would help if we narrowed it down just a little bit, By all means, everyone can vote for their own, like, city, their own town. Like, if you want to continue to vote against taxes for your local schools, I mean, have at it. I mean, it's not a good thing to say, but I don't even do that. I don't even vote for that. There's got to be a lot of other people like me, though, right? Like, that just, like, dude, I go, it's not even till, like, the next day that I hear about someone, like, oh, yeah, I just voted. I'm like, oh, shit. I didn't even know that it was happening on that day for me to even decide against it. I just didn't even show up because I didn't even know. Yeah, that's on me. I'm not a lazy person either. I do a lot of work. But, I mean, I guess that's the way it goes. I mean, if anyone's still listening, I don't know why. We are at 10:09. Seriously, are you taking a shit? What could you possibly be doing where you don't just leave your fucking phone on? I guess part of it's on me. I wasn't combative enough. I should have said that. Well, what else is going on in the world? I wonder if there's any big news coming up. That's probably another problem with me, is that I think a main source for me for anything that I'm getting news related is yahoo.com. Like, that's probably not good, right? Yeah. Anyway, he's calling. Let's do this. Hello?
Hello.
All right.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
As good as ever, at least, I should say.
Yeah,
Still sounding like straight shit, but I'm here.
We'll fix it.
All right.
We'll fix it. So why couldn't you have just left your phone? Like, why couldn't you have just done the pod anyways?
While I was getting pictures?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose I could have, but I just didn't know that it was super professional. But I mean, I guess I
no, we're the fucking kings of professionalism. And that being said, we are 10 minutes into the pod while I waited for Mike. This is episode 3 now of Stuff You Wouldn't Say Out Loud.
Episode 3, yes.
And,
I can't believe we lasted this long. Yeah.
Oh, what? 10 minutes into episode 3? Me either. I was running.
Are we? Are we 10 minutes where you're just talking like amongst yourself?
Yeah. We absolutely are. And so.
Well, that's interesting. Where do I jump into this equation at? Where are we at?
There's nothing so far. I just kind of was telling the people this episode's going to be more about politics, and that it's interesting because I don't vote. I don't care, and I'm probably a great example of a large portion of America that is uninformed and just getting my information secondhand and forming an opinion on that.
Absolutely, yeah. That's how we do it.
And then a lot of jibber jabber and just wondering why you couldn't leave your phone on. And the main source of news for me is just yahoo.com. So that's probably a big part of my misinformation, But
sure. I use Bing.
Bing? Do you really?
Bing.
You're a
No,
Bing?
I don't.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, I do not. No, not at all. But I thought
Bing is as good as
great.
spam, isn't it? Like, who the fuck?
Nobody, I don't know that anybody uses Bing. It's probably actually pretty accurate because it's not like filled with fucking bullshit by Google.
Are you kidding me? They're probably Bing is like the equivalent, like is the techie equivalent of a starving artist. Like they're gonna say yes to any sort of sponsor that, like any sort of ads they can throw on their shit.
Yeah, I guess.
There's no one who uses Bing.
No, I don't know anybody in real life who does.
IRL?
I can't imagine that there are very many people who do. No, I wouldn't assume.
It can't be.
But all right, great. So was my first phone call on there too?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you called me, was that where we already started at that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Good. All right. Well, that's awesome. That's 10. Am I still getting paid in full for the full hour, even though it was 10 minutes off the air?
No. No, I'm taking your portion of that, actually.
So, like, 1/6 less of nothing.
Right.
So, good.
Yeah.
All right,
Good. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
Whatever.
Well, you can have that extra nothing.
Whatever 0 divided by 0 is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's like staring, like a mirror looking at a mirror.
Right.
There's
well,
no,
and then you also lose 1/6 of that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
1/6 of a mirror looking at a mirror.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
good.
Deep.
Great. I'm glad we're there. Okay. Well, basically, what I plan on bringing to the table with politics today was not a whole lot, because that's pretty much what American politics is not a whole lot of anything. I hope the people, like, I guess we should maybe, I don't know what you broke down, what you didn't, but, like...
Oh, not a lot at all. Not a lot at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, us living in the United States, we live in a democratic republic, which would mean that similar to a democracy, except we represent, we vote in representatives that, like, will represent us, broken up into states. So, like, we do not vote on every single issue. We vote in people to do that for us on our behalf, correct? That's a pretty good representation of what a democratic republic is.
Yeah, I think I'm learning a lot already.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well, because that's not the extent. That's about the extent of what I know. And we obviously run on a mostly two-party system. We do have other random little parties that pop up that don't really mean shit, really.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Gary Johnson, come on, man.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Get out of here.
Newt Gingrich?
I know the name.
Okay. Who's the guy who's all about weed? Is that Newt Gingrich, the guy who's been, like, running, like, Green Party for the past, like, 75 years, and he's just like, I like weed, and everybody's like, all right, well, we're not electing you as president.
I mean, maybe, but I think there's someone else. Gary Johnson is kind of the same, but Gary Johnson is, like, he's a goofball. He's a real goofball. There's no way he was going to get chosen, but he got popular in 2016, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gary Johnson. I'm trying to think of him. I'm trying to put a face to the name.
If memory serves me right, he looked like a male version of Ellen DeGeneres.
Who was the guy who ran a while back? It was, I think, against Bush.
Okay, so yeah, Gary Johnson, former governor of New Mexico, and just based on his headshot, yeah, I'm gonna stick with
the Ellen DeGeneres thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Male version Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah.
Now, he wasn't the guy who ran back in, against Bush Jr., was he?
I think so.
Was he the guy then that was, literally was doing fine until he gave the speech where he was like, whoa!
No.
Made that crazy noise.
No.
And then literally that destroyed his campaign.
No, I don't remember that guy's name, but Chappelle had a sketch where he was pretending to be that guy that was just fucking hilarious, and it's been ingrained in my mind ever since. And we're gonna go to the White House, and we're gonna
what's crazy is that sunk that guy's campaign.
I know.
Trump is straight grab him by the pussy, and he's okay. Dude.
He's like, oh, whatever.
He's okay. Yeah.
He's like, tell me I did something wrong.
Right, exactly. That guy, he's guilty of is getting a little too hyped, just bringing it a little too hard, and he's nixed, dude, because of that. It's strange how much our political climate and what's appropriate and what's not has changed in such in short order, extremely short order, I would say.
It's true.
Yeah. But, we have Republicans, we have Democrats,
Yep.
Those are the two big ends. We have people who fall maybe in the middle. We have centrists, but most of the time we're aligning with one of those two parties here in the good old U.S.
You tend to lean one way or another.
Sure.
And throughout life, even, you just kind of go back and forth. I mean, not for everyone, but
no.
I think it just
I would
depends
say,
on...
rational, sane people will be able to kind of lean back and forth between the two.
Right.
We have extremes on both ends, but
Right.
I don't know that, and that's really, what Republican and Democrat, at least in the U.S., is what everybody else would just call, I guess, liberal or conservative, right? Like, that would be a pretty safe bet, because there's still those kinds of belief systems.
I think that is...
Just call it different things.
I think those are... no, never mind. I don't want to say better terms than Republican and Democratic, but what is it? It's just a different word for the two, more or less. You know what I mean? Like, if we were to break down what is a liberal, you liberalist.
I guess that would be someone who
probably lives in Portland.
That lives in Portland for sure. Has short hair, probably colored if you're a woman.
Is a woman.
If you're a male, long hair in a bun.
Yeah. Very unkept. Very unkept.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, very, very unkept.
Yeah.
Not highly refined whatsoever.
Right.
No, but I think it would be people who lean towards more focus on, traditionally the working class, blue collar, and the, supporting, I guess, the rights of the, lower economic classes / people who are in need. They're definitely, more giving, and there's some downfalls that come with that, but I would say generally that's, how we tend to look, at least in the United States, as, liberalism / the Democratic Party it tends to be people who, are more about the people in general as a whole, as opposed to, your individual rights, I suppose.
There's
and
a lot of
they don't care about individual rights. It's just that they less focus on individual rights and more focus on what's good for the gander as opposed to the goose.
There's a lot of positives in that.
Right. Sure.
And then in conservatives, mainly always have chew in their mouth.
Yep.
Or
one of those little tumbleweed looking like a piece of straw.
Yeah. They have their favorite cowboy boots. They
wear a cowboy hat.
Yep. Some sort of nice belt buckle, and
sure.
every once in a while drop the N-bomb. Because they mean it.
Probably, yeah. And then they own a John Deere. They believe in capitalism. They want to be rich, and they don't care that you're poor.
Right.
And that's the name of the Texas.
And if that means you need to frack on my lawn,
frack away.
Frack away.
Frack it up. Let's get fracked.
All right, but a real definition.
A real description.
Yeah.
I'll let you take this one. I feel like I took Democrats. You can take Republicans.
On the spot.
You want me to take it? I'll take it. Okay, so conservatives tend to be more focused on individual rights. Maybe they tend to be more focused on, again, I guess we jokingly, but they do believe in capitalism and the idea that you should come and get your piece of the pie, and the harder that you work should mean the more that you deserve, right? The more that you get, you kind of take what you get. Or I guess let me flip that: get what you take, not so much take what you get what you take. like they believe in, I guess, the traditional American dream, like the yard with picket fence and the dog, and like that you built that yourself,
right.
Not like literally, but like figuratively, you work to get that. They tend to focus more on less taxes. I should have put in there, as far as taxes go, Democrats tend to focus more, or to be about more taxes, right? Because that way we can pay for the social programs
and the whole, yeah.
Right. Republicans don't care. I don't know if they don't care so much about social programs, but not as much of a focus. Much more about keeping the money that you earned, right? And
I think that's a good thing to cover, is that the Democratic Party is oftentimes, when you say taxes, it also can be construed as they are for more governing.
Sure, yeah, that's
what I mean?
Very, yeah. More government as opposed to Republicans traditionally are thought to be less government.
Right,
like
I can handle myself. Don't tread on me. Yada yada.
Don't tread on this.
Don't tread on this.
Watch. We're the snake in the grass.
I live for martial law.
I'm about the death sentence. Kill him.
Kill him.
I don't want our tax dollars paying to keep them alive.
But maybe he's changed.
They're baddies. Like, that's it. Oh God, we just like literally pissed every single person off.
But here's the thing, is that I truly believe that most people are somewhere in the middle. They really are.
I do too.
If they were to take a step back and just fucking breathe and think about it, you are more than likely somewhere in the middle. I find it hard to believe that anyone has such a strong opinion one way or another. Like, how the fuck are you to assume that there is such a defined line drawn in the sand, and it's like you got to pick a side?
I mean, I 100% agree with you. I would say that a vast majority of Americans are centric, maybe leaning one way or the other. I think that the media would lead you to believe that there is this really drastic contrast between what people believe. But I also think, like, they're for a reason, right? Like, there are people who are those extremes. Like, I can say, like, only being 31 years old, like, I haven't lived a very long life, but I will say that, like, things do seem more divided now than they have in my lifetime. Yeah. Like,
but
people can't agree on shit. Like, if you watch.
So there's two things to that. It's one is, like, people cannot agree on anything, and I agree with that. And here is where it started. It's not with Trump, but with Obama.
Okay, elaborate. I'm interested to hear this.
So
okay.
Trump is where it was magnified, but MAGA-nified. You see that? Huh? But Obama is where it started, because you still have these closet racists people that could not wrap their heads around a black president.
Sure.
I think that you and I were so young at the time that we knew even less than what we knew now, and we don't know shit,
Right.
But we were so excited just for change, which is funny because that was one of his things. You know what I mean? Like, we were so excited just to be a part of something just crazy happening in our eyes. Like as far as we were concerned, that is super crazy that all of a sudden we're gonna get a black president, and
sure.
And that is where I truly believe that is where I noticed a lot of people, start to feel weird if they were against it. They weren't yet speaking up because it was not a time where it was okay for them to speak up. However, all of those people that felt that way, finally spoke up when Trump ran, and Trump made it feel okay for you to no longer be a closet racist, more or less. You know what I mean? Like, that is...
Right. And I think even more than that, like, I totally agree with that. And I think more than that, like, if you didn't like Obama because of his politics, you were a racist. It didn't matter. Like, you were a fucking racist. Everybody thought you were just a fucking... Like, no, you just don't like him because he's black. Like, no, I don't like him because I don't want to be taxed 50%, right? Or, like, you know, just as an example. But those people were fucking, like, shamed into corners. And I totally agree. When we were prepping for this earlier, I said, I think on a small scale, like, America voting Trump in was sort of a revolution, right? Like, that was kind of the people biting back, like saying, like,
right,
fuck
but
you.
I'm countering that. Don't you think the same? Like, don't you think the catalyst of that the quiet catalyst was Obama?
Sure. No,
because now, so that was like Obama 100%. Was a tiny pendulum swing in that direction, and that pendulum always swings back harder for some reason, and that's exactly what it did.
It did, yeah, for sure. And I think, like, people didn't even necessarily have to agree with Trump's messaging just to say, like, we just want to say fuck you to everybody. Like, nobody thought he would get in. And that was just, like, Midwest America saying fuck you.
Well, and that's
New York and California, you know what I mean?
And so Trump is when it was MAGA-nified. And and that is when I just got off of social media. Now all I had was Facebook, so it's not like today where, you know, I guess other people at the time were still on Twitter and probably Instagram back then. But those I don't feel like were as big. Like, I feel like Facebook was still the main one, and that's where, like, back then, because that's what it was 2016, right?
When Trump was elected, 2016.
So throughout all of that, leading up to it, I just remember there were nights where I would be, you know, just hanging around the house. I was doing, you know, if I were doing yard work or whatever I was doing, I love a beer while I'm doing yard work. I love a beer while I'm doing yard work. It makes me feel great. I don't know what it is. The downfall with that is that if you do a lot of yard work, you drank a lot. And then from there, if you want to hop on Facebook to see what's going on, in 2016 when all this shit's going on, someone who was your friend for forever, their mom is now friends with you on Facebook, and their mom is posting crazy Trump shit, you know? And those are those moments where you get enraged. You want to say shit back to them. It's like, well, you can't. Like, you shouldn't, because that, like, what good is that going to do? And I remember, I say that a friend's mom because I remember a specific time when, I don't remember, I think it was like, it had to have been a Hillary rally, and LeBron showed up and spoke. That had to have been what it was. I know that it was LeBron speaking, but I don't remember whether it was his own thing or at a Hillary rally specific. But LeBron came and he spoke somewhere, right?
Okay.
My friend's mom went off on Facebook. And the thing that bothered me the most is that she wasn't saying, this piece of shit only wants Hillary, blah, blah, blah. It's because she kept saying, this black piece of shit. And I was like, you don't need to, like, just call him a piece of shit, and then you're done. Like, the fact that now you have this extra courage to where some true sides of you are able to show, like, that's what, I don't know. I guess it doesn't bother me that those true sides are able to show. It bothers me that those are the true colors of you. That's how you really feel, and it's finally fucking coming out, and you feel like it's okay to blast that on the internet.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the whole thing was interesting. Just from a perspective where I didn't really take a side either way, just to see all of the everything go
either.
down.
I did.
See everything go down was just.
I thought it was ridiculous that Trump was running in the first place. I thought it was hilarious. But then to see...
It was funny until it wasn't.
Exactly.
And then, it wasn't.
Exactly.
It was, really funny. This guy is literally beating all of these Republicans in, the debates and then he became, the front runner. And I was like, well, and to be candid... I am centrist, but I do lean conservatively. I will say that for the sake of being candid. But I will say also that I am not a Trump fan per se, not at all. I mean, obviously some of the conservative issues, he leans more towards them. There's some things that I can kind of get behind, but overall, not a Trump fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny until that point came where he was a front runner, and then I was just kind of depressed for a minute. I was like, well, we've lost any chance at all of winning the election.
Well, it's funny because someone even my mom, who my mom was a huge Ben Carson person.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that's fine, that's respectable, whatever, and then when he's not, now Ben Carson drops out, it's hearing the things that inevitably happen on both sides, where it's well, my mom, well, I have to vote Trump because he's the Republican candidate. I'm Republican. It's or you bow out and you don't vote either side. I actually knew a lot of people in 2016. Now I don't vote, admittingly, but I knew a lot of people for that 2016. A lot of older people that usually don't think like that said, no, I didn't vote because hands were tied on that one.
Yeah, that was a tough one because I love, and I will say candidly that I love voting. I'm all about it. I think that we should, that's a right that, we have fought for, and that's kind of what this country was built on. And I want to exercise that right.
Yeah,
I will say this was a tough election.
Happen, though?
Because this was one of the first elections I think that I can remember since I was able to vote where I chose not to vote because I couldn't do it either way. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't, with a good conscience,
yeah, but
I could not.
Did you ever think that your vote really mattered?
Yes. I'm going to say yes, and here's the reason why. If our votes did not matter, then Trump would not be president of the United States. If a bunch of individuals getting together, exercising their right, if that didn't matter, there is no way in hell that Trump would be president because nobody wanted him. The Republicans didn't want him. The Democrats didn't want him. Just the fucking people wanted him. He was not.
I guess you. I feel like you have a point. I don't want to admit it.
And I mean, but I do see what you're saying. I mean, it does feel often like there is no point. I definitely believe much more in voting local elections.
That's what I was going to say.
All about
something that I do feel guilty about in terms of not voting is the local stuff. That is the part that I think you do have an actual impact on. Much more than you do with whomever the next president will be.
And ultimately, really, that impacts you a lot more anyways. Those are the things that are really going to impact you on a bigger level than the president of the United States. And I mean, that sounds silly, but really, that's the truth. The president isn't going to care if our fucking roads get fixed. Our president isn't going to care if we're allotting money to our local, Board of Developmental Disability or making sure that we have funds for the high school. The president doesn't give a shit about that. that, but like our local politicians, at least in theory, do, right? Like that's why we're voting for them. So like I did still vote in the 2016 election. I just did not. I left the presidential like the thing blank. I didn't pick one or the other for that one. I just left that blank. I still voted in our local election stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like I said, that was a tough one because I did not want Hillary in office. I will openly say that, like being a conservative, I did not want Hillary in office. Or I guess more centric, because I don't know. I don't even like calling myself a conservative because Trump has put such a bad taste in my mouth about conservatism. And in general too, there's a lot of topics where I do swing heavy in the liberal perspective as well. Like
it's interesting for me because I grew up with a very, I don't want to say very, but I grew up with a dad that always voted Democratic, and a mother who always voted Republican. So, it might be a shock to you, but they were divorced when I was 5 years old. I
kind of feel shitty for a second. I was like, I'm laughing about your parents' divorce. But I was like, you know what, dude, I'm gonna roll with it, I guess.
But I guess for myself, I always saw bits from both sides. I was like, well, surely, like my dad can't think that like that part is bogus, and surely my mom can't think that part's bogus.
Right.
That's what I've never understood is that, and I guess that's all a part of voting is you're voting for the person who proposed the package that is as close to what you want, because it'll never be perfect.
Sure. No. Yeah. Absolutely.
But at that same time, wouldn't you also agree that president is to some extent and Trump is actually the outlier here because he's gone rogue for fucking sure.
Oh yeah, he's banana. He's a fucking banana.
But to some extent, most extent, like the president is typically a fucking puppet.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. They're a puppet of the party that they ran under. Like, that's absolutely at 100%.
But that's the interesting thing about Trump, though, is that okay, this guy has been impeached. I still believe that he's gonna be reelected. Maybe, possibly. I mean, how fucking crazy is that?
It is pretty typical for someone. I will say it's not very common for a president to only go for one term. Usually, like
I know that. But it's super uncommon for them to be impeached.
And then really everything about the guy is fucking atypical. Dude, I'm telling you, political scholars will be studying the Trump presidency for the next 500 years. Like, what the fuck happened with this Trump thing? Like, they will be saying that for the next.
That's the thing, is it has set a new precedent, and no one has caught on yet. Both parties. No one's caught on yet. Just be fucking honest.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, nobody liked what he was saying, but he was being honest.
Own your shit. And the biggest thing, and so here's, I recently listened to a podcast, Theo Von, shout out to Theo Von's podcast. It's awesome. And he had, I'm going to botch her last name, but Tommy Lauren, yeah. Mm-hmm. He had her on, and I was so excited because the only thing that I ever knew of her was that she's on Fox, and she is, everyone says alt-right and yada, 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 and any clips that you can actually find of her, it's just like, Jesus, like, you're a bit much,
Yeah, oh yeah, she's, I have some ideas I don't necessarily.
So,
I
however,
can't get on board with her.
However, this is why I was excited to listen to this podcast, because Theo is.
And she's pretty cute. I mean, like, honestly.
Yes, she is a very she's a beautiful woman, and
she's an attractive young lady.
She's an attractive young lady, and I'm sure the old Republican men have a ton of fun talking about her in the locker room.
The good old party loves talking about her. Right.
It's just locker room talk.
That's something I never realized that I'm going to sound kind of stupid for saying this, but I'll go ahead and admit it.
Yeah.
Up until a week ago, I did not realize that the GOP stood for the good old party.
I didn't know that till now.
Isn't that crazy? That's like some
scary.
Straight fucking, like, plantation owning shit.
I was gonna say they're just admitting they're racist as fuck.
The good old party.
And then here comes Ben Carson. He's like, hi guys.
They're like, nope.
Holy shit. So anyways, I was listening to that podcast because I wanted to see if she is just like as crazy as like the clips that you can find, right? And she's not, which shouldn't be that big of a surprise because she's on a podcast and she's finally being herself. She's not reading off of a teleprompter, feeding whatever like the Fox agenda is. She is a huge Trump supporter. With that being said, excuse my burp, I'm burping a lot. With that being said, she explains a big reason why Trump won, and it's because so many people ignore middle America.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, yeah.
And she explains how, like, you know, these actors who, you know, every year they do that commercial for the Democratic Party where it's like a ton of actors, one by one forming, you know, they take one word out of each one of them saying the same sentence in front of a white backdrop. So
sure, yeah, it's always the exact same.
You know what I mean? It's always fucking that. Well, she explains, like, she goes, you know, all these actors are doing that shit, but like they don't seem to ever understand that the people who are watching their shows are middle America. Like that's
right.
That's them. Like, and she's from, I want to say South Dakota, but she's like, you understand that, like, we are snowed in. Like, what do you think we're doing at night? We're the ones watching TV. And it makes a great point. So then when they see their favorite actor doing these fucking commercials for some Democratic representative, they get pissed because it's like, oh, so like fuck us then, right? Like all I ever did was mining coal or whatever. So then whenever you have someone like Trump comes through, says, I don't forget the middleman and blah 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 blah, and we're gonna bring clean energy to coal mining, which is that fucking stupid. It's not. You can't. But
sure.
When you say shit like that,
Trump probably believes that. Trump actually probably believes that. Yeah. He's like, dude, we're just scrubbing up. We'll take a little scrubbing up. It'll be clean as can be.
But so when you hear that shit though, then you're on board. And that's how you win. It's not about your level of politeness and that stuff. It's about like this whole section that it has been lost, and it's just proven time and time again that you cannot win just based off of California, New York, and Ohio. You can't do it. You have to have more than that.
Right. And I think, like, in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes that Hillary made in the 2016 election was, like, right towards the end, like, right when we were getting into, like, the final weeks, it was, like, brought up time and time again how she was just choosing not to go to these states like West Virginia and Pennsylvania and a couple other ones. Like, I mean, I don't know that those are the exact ones, but there were states where she did not campaign in because she didn't feel like she needed them.
And
like,
those
you know
were
what I
the
mean?
final
Like,
words that we ever heard from Mike as he was bombed from a Clinton drone.
Dude, exactly. That's it. And I'm on the fucking Clinton hit list, dude. But really, I mean, like that. And people saw that, and they were like, "She is such a pompous fucking asshole. Like, she doesn't think we matter at all." You know what I mean? Like, we'll fucking show her, and they turned out. Those little fucking states turned out, and
right.
all of the little states fucking turned out for Trump because he was the only one that pretended like he gave a shit.
What's comparable to that is again the Obama election. Is finally you have someone to represent this black community.
Sure. Never underestimate the black vote. Never underestimate the black vote, dude. Yeah, of course.
No, but for the black community to take time and go and vote for this government system that has constantly put them down is fucking huge. That is huge. That is so great. And that's why that whole thing of change and hope, it hit so hard. You know what I mean? And it made them want to believe again in a government system that has failed them time and time and time again. And that's all it is. That was just a different probably better way of doing it than Trump. But Trump found a way to find these, you know, the other people that were overlooked, which are you know the same, you know, trailer parks. I'll just say it, trailer parks.
Yeah. I mean, people that are living on, you know, like farms in the middle of nowhere and that kind of stuff. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it just he really resonated with, and I mean, like, you know, not to give, you know, too much information away, but like we live in a flyover state. Like the people that I see on a daily basis still beat the Trump drum so hard, dude, because like he is their, like, you know, they're patriot. They rally behind him as someone who, like, you know, cares about those states, you know, these people that are just out here, and, you know, we're not part of Hollywood, and we're not part of these big cities, and we're not part, you know what I mean? Like, we aren't in the excitement of the East and West Coast. We're just kind of here in the middle, and there's not, you know.
It's so funny because the house that I live in now, the house that I bought, it's crazy to think that it's crazy to think that I've been here since that election. But I remember we bought it, and, you know, we move in, all that stuff, and then comes October, comes Halloween, which is, I think, probably not a good time for others to put their presidential candidates' signs up in their front lawn.
Correct,
but that's exactly what happened here. And so I'm driving through, and a lot of people had Trump signs in my neighborhood, and I was just like giggling because I was like, we didn't see this coming. Like, I didn't know. Right. I didn't know that I was. But at the same time, it's just like my neighborhood is houses that were built in the 50s, and we have a lot of turnover right now. So, like, you know, people lived in these houses since they got out of World War II, and now passing away, and younger people are buying. And so based on the Trump sign, you know which ones are the older folk, you know? But it is still so interesting to me because I truly think that all of them are a lot like my mother in the sense that week one, when Trump announced he's running, they were probably all like, ha!
Right.
Silly. Right. It's insane. It's super interesting, but it's insane.
It is. You know, and it's interesting you bring up the sign thing, because when it was getting closer to that election, you know, I remember just seeing more and more and more and more and more Trump signs, and I was like, you know, our area is really into Trump. Like, this is pretty insane. Like, I didn't think
especially
that
by
he would get
you.
this kind of support. Yeah. And I started talking to people from other places, and they were saying the same thing. And I think that's when it, like, dawned on me, like, he really has a chance. Like, the media is not giving him enough credit. Like, I'm talking to people from all these different places, and they are saying the exact same. Like, I cannot believe how many Trump signs I'm driving by. And I'm like, yeah, same out here. You know what I mean? And that's, like, when it, like, really hit me that I was like, this isn't a joke. Like, this guy's really got a lot of support. Like, this is, you know, that's like I said, when I read, and I think another thing, like, again, and I know this has been talked about a lot on a lot of different places, but something else that, you know, like, the media just didn't take into consideration was, like, they were doing such a good job of shaming Trump supporters that there was a ton of closet Trump supporters. Like, I guarantee you there were people who threw Hillary signs in their front yard so they wouldn't get their fucking, like, house egged, that went out and voted for Trump that morning. That went out and actually voted for Trump instead of Hillary that morning because they were just ashamed of being Trump supporters. You know what I mean? Like, they,
The better shot's probably just not putting a sign in your front lawn. Like, at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of trashy to put a sign in your yard either way, but it's just me.
But the interesting thing about him is that he leaned into everything. The grab her by the pussy, he leaned into all of it and came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what made him, like, unstoppable, was, like, and like you said earlier, to the same sentiment that he was honest, and people wanted somebody who was honest, that didn't just blow smoke up their ass, that didn't always say the right thing, and made him human. You know what I mean? Like, it made him one of them, as opposed to just this, like, you know, person, like in contrast to Obama, who we had previously, was like this slick talker. He was very well calculated.
Well, you know, and that's a really great point, because so you have someone like Trump who recently, and I do want to get to this whole Iran thing, because you have someone like Obama who bombs, what was it? I'm sorry, the Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
Did he ever formally address that?
I'm sure he had.
He had to have, right?
He had to.
So long ago, but he had to have. But here's the thing: is that he is someone who is, you know, at least his platform was against war, right? And at the same time, he's someone who would jokingly say that, like, if someone ever hurt his daughter, he'd send a drone strike against that person.
Right.
You know, like, however, then you got Trump, who's like, no, yeah, I would do this. Actually, I did the same. You know, he's like,
right.
He's like, yeah, absolutely, I would do that. You know, like, Trump leans into that shit so hard that whenever this shit with Iran happens, he just did it. He didn't, you know, there's nothing that, like, tipped it off. He just did it. And so that is such an interesting thing to me, where, like, well, maybe if he were a little more level-headed with that same sort of assertiveness, a lot more shit would be getting done.
Agreed. And I think that's another thing that people, you know, liked about, or like, I should say, about Trump, is that he, you know, he does, I mean, you can't argue the fact that he doesn't get shit done. You might not agree with what he's getting done, but he gets shit done, you know? I mean, like, obviously there's been some things that he did not, like, the whole, I'm going to build the wall, it's going to be the greatest wall,
yeah, we're still working on that. I mean,
you know,
what do you think
about
that?
I mean, like, for the most part, like, he delivers on shit that he says he's going to do. And by the way, I mean, like, I'm just, you know, speaking for myself, like, I don't want people to think, like, I'm like I don't want this to sound like this is all just like how great Trump is, because like I said, I mean, I think I think we were, when I say we very much.
Yeah, I think we were very, very clear about not being huge Trump fans.
No. And when I say not being a huge Trump fan, like, I disagree with most of his policies. You know what I mean? Like, like, I agree with his conservative things, like, just because I'm, like I said, more conservative leaning, but, like, I do not agree with most of his
However, if you're listening to this podcast,
extreme...
you understand the name of this podcast is stuff you wouldn't say out loud. And that being said, we are looking at things from all angles, and we're going to say shit that most people won't say.
Right. And I mean, like, it's, just the truth. Like, that guy, I don't know, man. He has a way of captivating. I mean, he's always the center of attention. Like, he just, looking back, I'm not surprised at all that he was elected president. Like, it became a huge shock to everyone at the time.
No, even night up for me. I was laying in bed, just giggling to myself of just like, this is happening. Because, like, I mean, all the signs were there. The way that the numbers were just racking up, it's like, oh, that's how this is going to fall. And when they try to mathematically find new ways of how Hillary's going to beat him, it's like, no, it's still, like, there's still no fucking way. Like,
I will say it was pretty amazing watching that night that all play out, and just the absolute, like, me being as kind of like, like I wouldn't say like an anarchist, but like I have an anarchist streak to me. Like, I love it to see when things fall to shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
same.
I love to see just chaos. Like, and just seeing the chaos of everyone was a little bit entertaining. I'm not gonna lie. Like, seeing people just bawling on like MSNBC and like having mental breakdowns in the street, dude. Like being just kind of like I said, having that little bit of an anarchist streak back from when we were kids. It stuck with me, dude. It stuck with me. I can't.
And so I would say that's probably where a lot of the laughs for me came from, but also because it was just like, how are you that concerned? And at least in my mind, I'm like, how are you that concerned? Because they're still like, okay, we picked the next puppet. That's all.
But then it ended up turning out to be, like I said, it was funny until it wasn't, when you realize he's really, like, a dick. Like, he's a total douchebag.
Well, it's just like, it's things like, oh, you're separating kids from their parents and putting them in cages. All right. Oh,
yeah, then it wasn't funny. It wasn't so much funny anymore. Yeah, then it wasn't, like, those kind of things, and you could name 1,000 things like that, but, like, it just wasn't. And again, when we were prepping, I said this earlier, like, going into it, I just assumed that Trump was a lot of talk, and then, like, because most presidents during the, like, the race, the actual presidential race leading up to the election, they talk a big talk, and they say they're going to do all these things, and they say that they're all these things
because they have to get the vote.
Right, exactly. What they need to say to get the votes, what they need to say to beat their opponents, and, like, to get their, candidacy as far as their party, like in debates, whatever they need to say. But then, like, they become presidential when they become president, right? Like, they become more, like, level-headed. They become just more presidential in general. And Trump has become is the exact opposite. Like, I think he's become less presidential now than he was when he was running for the president. Like, he is just straight wilding out everywhere.
I will say though, I thought for sure that we were going to. I'll say me. Well, no, you two. You're about the same age. That we were going to witness our first assassination.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that, but a lot of people said that same shit for Obama too. They're like, there's enough crazy racists out there that, like,
there are, but I don't know. Well, no, you're right. I feel like but again, like I said, I feel like there's a lot of similarities between the two in terms of, like, just shaking shit up.
I agree. I totally agree. Absolutely. Compared to, like, Bush Jr., Clinton before that, they were your pretty standard politicians that, you know what I mean? That
well, that's why
you kind of expect to see.
That's why, respectively, and nothing against it, but I thought that it would be totally absurd that you would go from a black president to a woman president. It makes a lot more sense to go to a white TV celebrity fucking weirdo dude before you jump back to a woman president. Again, respectively.
I wouldn't be surprised after this if we go to a woman president at all. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, again, no, I think like, dude, I don't doubt that it's going to be Trump again.
Well, no,
you mean after that?
I agree with you. Right, after that.
Even
usually we get 8 years of one, 8 years of another.
Well, you usually do. But if you look, there are some 4-year terms, and I think if anyone's trying to prove the importance of impeachment, you don't reelect the guy. But
unless you don't agree with the impeachment, because again,
I know. I'm the one who said that I think that he's probably going to get reelected. But I just feel like if you're going to go through the trouble of impeaching him, then you're going to go through the trouble of making sure that he doesn't get reelected for another 4 fucking years. Like,
I think that's what the Democrats are trying to do. I think that was the whole point of impeaching him. They knew it wasn't going to make it through the Senate. Like, they didn't even turn in the paperwork.
Seem like they know what they're doing.
I mean, do they? Because he got elected to begin with.
No, I said I don't think they know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, well, yeah, then I would agree with you. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah.
No,
I
don't think they know.
I think it was just, it was obvious. To me, it was an obvious just character assassination. I think that's how most of America sees it. I don't know how they don't understand that there is no such thing as assassinating his character.
Right.
He was 100% right when he said he could shoot somebody on Main Street and still get elected. I believe that now at this point, dude, because you can say whatever you want about the guy, and like his fan base will love him still.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Man. I don't know.
It's amazing.
I don't know. Like, it's amazing.
But that being said, even if he gets reelected, I feel like from there, there's no way that they're going to go straight to a woman. I feel like whether it's Republican again or Democratic, doesn't matter. Probably Democratic, because that's always the way it seems to go. 8 years this way, 8 years that way. It's the pendulum thing. Mm-hmm. But whatever you're going to do, you're going to level set. And it'll be some fucking white dude.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, some rich white dude. Yeah.
And you'll do that for probably 8 years. And then maybe. But there's no way that I see you going from a Trump-ran America straight to a woman.
I mean, unless the Democratic base gets fired up enough to do it, then no. But I mean, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. Do you think most people in America?
The only way I see that happening is, again, that pendulum swinging real hard the other way. You know?
Right, which is that exactly. Do you think realistically in America, like, people have like an issue with voting a woman into president?
No, I think it's less about the woman, more about the last name being Clinton, if I'm being totally honest.
I don't disagree. I think that she was not the best candidate choice. I just think, like, and obviously I can't prove it if no one else can, but I just think that the Clintons have too much blood on their hands. I'll say it that way. It's too fishy. Just there's a lot of fishiness with
their
Clinton.
whole existence is too fishy, dude.
I'd say if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, just look up like Clinton hit list or like deaths associated with Clinton.
Look at
spend a few hours going down that rabbit hole, dude.
Clinton.
Yeah, there's quite a rabbit hole there. Yeah.
You know, there's Clinton kills Kennedy on plane. You know, like there's so much. Like
there's just it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole, and I think probably most of it's just fucking conspiracy theories. I mean,
and it could be, but the fact is that it always goes back to them and not another politician's name. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing is
right.
They're not charged with murder, but to some extent, like you're still guilty by association. And by association,
right,
I mean you're the only fucking person anyone's naming. Like, there's no... Within that conspiracy theory, it's either... Like, when you talk about an airplane crash, like, it's either like, oh, engine went out, or it was the Clintons. When you talk about the other Kennedy fucking crashing, you know, off a bridge with a hooker, it's like, oh, that was either... the steering wheel went out, or it was the Clintons. Like, it's not
right. Yeah, anything. Yeah, it all comes back to the Clintons, dude. Yeah.
And I might have that wrong. I don't know if those are both Kennedy stories, but I feel like they are. But
I don't know on that one. I'm not sure. I mean, it's because they're reptilian Illuminati members. I mean, that's obviously why this is all happening. It's because they're reptilian humanoids that are part of the Illuminati.
Man, I wish that I could just get invited to, like, a few of the parties.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they throw, like, some Eyes Wide Shut
Can you imagine, like, us back in the day, though, showing up to one of the parties?
We would have been sacrificed.
You think so?
Raped.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think I think opposite.
Or we would have took it over. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
Straight been accepted in,
exactly.
and they would have loved us.
They were like, these guys are fucking monsters.
That would have been a game changer for us, dude. We could be like senators and stuff.
Oh, can you imagine? Like, what if that was actually the best job? Because the way I view it is like, ugh.
Worst job ever.
It sounds so boring.
Right. We'd be the worst senators. We're like, get to the fucking point. Like, we got a bar to hit up. Come on.
But
just say what you're going to say. We don't need this 3-hour-long speech on the floor. I would just be asking to hit the gavel constantly. It would be much more like Parliament if we were in the Senate. You ever watch Parliament? It's so much more interesting than what, like, our stuff's all like prim and proper. Like, over in England, fucking Parliament, dude, they're fucking wild out. They're yelling, they're throwing shoes at each other, dude. They're just fucking wild and out all the time.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Why don't we have that kind of shit? I feel like, why aren't our people wild and out all the time?
Because no one brought us in. I think we would have been the ones to do that, you know?
That's right. We were going to be the ones to... Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. All right, well, anything... Do we want to touch on Iran real quick?
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say, to close it out, if we want to talk about Iran and what's going on there.
It's going on right now, developing as we, kind of as we speak, so might as well touch on it.
I just think it's interesting how, again, so Trump goes rogue in the public's eye, right? And
right.
I think you agree with me that we don't know how to pronounce the guy's name that was killed. So
Salami.
We're going with Salami.
Salami, right?
So we did a drone strike and killed Salami. And Iran is pissed off.
They're not very happy about it.
Right. Well, and the thing is, I don't think anyone thought that they would be, you know.
Well, yeah, no.
And if you look at just like what we're told, what we're fed, is that Salami was planning attacks on us in the form of
sorry, dude, salami.
in the form
I can't get that salami just being there, dude. Just like a salami, literally with like googly eyes, and like
he's like, I'm gonna give all these Americans heartburn.
Dude, I'm such a child, dude. Like, that's literally like, I can't even keep it together if I'm thinking about that. I can't even take it seriously.
But so, yeah, I guess, he was like, what, like a warlord over there? Does that, like,
I think he was I guess, no? Kind of, I mean.
He was,
like, no, I guess,
he was, like, he was their top dog.
Like
he was their top dog.
We considered him. Yeah, he was, yeah. He was, what was his title, though? That's what General, right? General?
I don't remember. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but we do that. Iran's pissed. Iran says, expect retaliation. You know, as if someone were to do that, you know, like to, I don't know, like who would be our version of salami?
A general that I don't know the name of.
Right. And we would probably just like we'd flatten just a lot of whomever. You know, if Iran did that to us, we would flatten a lot of important shit to them.
Oh yeah, we would turn the whole fucking place to glass, dude.
Which,
for sure.
Right. That's actually a popular term, turn the place to glass, because it's a lot of sand over there. For those of you that don't know, that's what you refer to when you just nuke the place, because it gets so hot that sand turns to glass. Anyways,
that's science 101.
Right. Well, it's science, but it's also what conservatives say.
I guess it is, yeah. I guess that is kind of a conservative term, yeah. I mean, I don't know, yeah.
So, but...
Do Democrats not say that? Do they not? Is that not... Does science not work the same?
No, Democrats are more like, let's get on the prayer rug with them and turn it into...
Oh, Jesus.
Let's see if we can extend an olive branch and... You know, there's no in between, which is like, okay, you send your fucking best fighter and we send our best fighter, and that's how we, you know, like, let's turn this into a fucking HBO match, motherfucker.
I wish that's how more things were settled.
Right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. If more things were settled, like, but it has to be like a fight to the death. That's how I would want to see it happen.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So like and after hours too, so everyone's kids go to bed and the parents gather around and it's like, all right, here we go.
And that is how we pay for college. That's how we erase student debt.
Ooh, now you're on to something.
Sanders. Now
you're on to something. Holy shit.
Dude, right there. Right there. That's it.
Well, I know what I'm bringing up in my next city hall meeting.
Can we get some battle royales?
So hear me out.
We want people to fight to the death. Is that gonna happen?
Imagine no college debt.
Our town council would just be like, Jesus, dude, I swear if they keep coming to these things, we're retiring. Like, we're just retiring. It's the third week in a row, the third asinine idea in a row.
They're bringing poster boards now.
They're gonna be like, do you realize this is a PTA meeting? Like, you're in the wrong place.
Well, the more people we can gather.
Oh shit, dude! This is an AA meeting. Like, we just asked what your name was. Like, why are you?
Listen, we will also have sodas available at our viewing session. At the
we'll have coffee and it'll be in a church basement. How about that? Is that a deal? Can we agree on that then? Like,
there will also be gambling, so any gambling addicts just don't, just look the other way.
Right, exactly.
Like America minus 10 punches to take out motherfucker Salami. You know, like
Right.
Salami died by
Exactly.
10 punches or less. You know, like
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be even better. Like, screw sending your best fighters. Just send the fucking presidents of those countries. That would be some funny fucking shit to watch right there, dude. That would be legit entertaining, seeing a bunch of old-ass rich people trying to fight
Oh, they're
each
not
other.
doing it though. Like, you gotta send in like your fucking war dog. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta feed a human being the shit that like Mike Vick fed his dogs. You know what was that stuff? You know what I'm talking about for dog fighting?
Gunpowder?
No. What?
But they did feed dog gunpowder for dogs. That's the thing, dude, yeah.
Maybe something like that. I think it was like called like snake poison or something like that. And
Fucking snake poison? Damn, dude, Michael Vick's got it all going on
it's
over
just
there.
like-
What the fuck?
he's a changed man. He's a changed man. He's a good liberal.
He's got dog fighting, and then in the back, he's just like milking snake venom out of fucking cobras and shit.
I don't remember if that's exactly it, but it was like you're giving your dog this shit where it's like either way, win or lose, that dog's dying because like
That's fucked up,
you know what I
Michael
mean?
Vick.
Like you. Well, let's not just. I mean, yeah, him, like fuck him, but like it's a lot of other people too.
Listen, I'm focusing on Michael Vick. Fuck that guy, dude. Straight hard. I mean, he's not going to hear this. I can say that, dude. He's not going to feed me snake venom.
I heard he was a long-time listener.
I'm going to get a fucking package of snakes in the mail. Like, it's going to be hissing
Jesus Christ.
from Michael Vick to Mike.
I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes in my motherfucking mailbox.
Oh, God, dude. Oh,
All right,
man.
no, so listen.
We went off the rails.
Yeah,
We went so far off the rails.
Salami.
Okay.
Salami dies. Iran says they're going to retaliate. I think they say that because they're trying to settle their people down. Iran has a huge funeral for Salami, and these people get stampeded on. Like multiple people die in their own honoring of Salami.
I can't. I can't. But it is insane. Yeah. It's yeah.
How do you not think of something a little more well prepared than like that's not you're not sacrificing your own people. Like you're not like
I know. Yeah. It's. I mean, it's. Dude, I don't even know. I don't even know what to think. When I saw that article pop up in my newsfeed, I was like, wait a minute.
No. So
Like, I thought there was
I didn't see an article.
It says like 40 people died.
Yeah,
Like, and I'm like, oh, shit.
From
dude.
Stampede. You know what I did?
And then I'd see something from Stampede. I'm like, is there fucking cows roam? Is it the running of the bulls the same weekend?
Stampede!
Like,
Stampede, Earl!
it's a Stampede, Earl! Get out the way! Get out the way!
No, not even that. Which could because I looked it up. I looked the video up because I tried, and I'm like, you know. So the first time I look up video, it just shows like a ton of people and like these fucking like military SUVs like maneuvering through it. I'm like, oh, so they got ran over. Not even, just stampeded from other fucking people. And then I found another video that just shows like the aftermath, just shows dead people on the ground. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding? How do you do like? That is insane. And then
I don't know, man. I don't know.
To tack onto that, then they do send ballistic missiles to our bases, right?
Sure.
And one part of me wants to say that they so horribly missed any human U.S. troop. You know what I mean? Like, but the other side of me says, like, the larger side, the bigger side of me that wants to give them the benefit of the doubt says that they missed on purpose based on how well they hit everything else. Like, dead center, they hit everything else.
I'm in that camp. I'm totally in that camp. As funny as it is for me to believe that there's some guy sitting at a desk like, are you telling me we didn't hit a fucking thing?
He's like, no, we hit dead center. He's like, no, look at Trump. Look at Trump's Twitter. He said all is well.
Like, as much as I'd like to believe there's some guy that's just like, we got the worst aim ever, dude.
No, I mean, clearly but so what I think it is that they clearly hit everything else dead center to prove, like, hey, we're good, but we're not trying to get it popping right now.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would be stupidity for them to start. I mean, any country to start a war with the United States. Now
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Why shoot down your own plane then?
See, that I'm kind of stumped about. I'm sure that there is an answer. Like, I'm sure that there are some people who understand this, and we're just fucking idiots. But, like, to me, just from my perspective, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. That is a mystery to me. Like, what
that's
the purpose
even
of that
more
was.
of your own people. Like, we only killed one of your people's. You've killed like so many. You killed almost enough for us to interfere.
Right, like to the point where we're getting worried. We're like, dude, are you okay over there?
What the fuck?
Are you all right? Like, you're supposed to be fighting against us. I don't know if you remember or not. It wasn't your people that killed your guy. It was us. Like, yeah, dude, like I said, I'm sure that there's a good explanation out there. Us being completely uneducated and not doing any background research for these topics at all, I don't know.
Hopefully time will tell. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, like I said, maybe we're just idiots and, like, there's a good theory out there, but I am unaware of it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would say somebody write in, but we don't really have anybody to write in. So
well, we don't even have an email set up yet, so.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just asking people to send doves with fucking letters attached to their fucking ankles at this point, dude. Carrier pigeons.
We will let you know when we get an email set up. It's very simple to do. We just haven't. That being said, though, I feel like that was solid. I feel like it's a good.
That was a good round one. Good round one of politics. I'm sure we will come back to this. I'm sure that at a later date we will come back to this.
What's the title we want?
We're not going to do them back to back. Because.
Yeah.
No, that's not. We're not. We don't have the concentration to do dual episodes. We hardly made it through this one, but I don't know. Hopefully, we gave a third grade level education about U.S. government. Which is good.
I already forget what our government's called. It's a republic.
Democratic Republic.
Yeah.
Yay, third grade.
That's the one.
Dude, we would bomb Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? We would bomb that fucking show.
I would just default to mocking him. Like, are you?
Do you remember it might have been after you moved away. We bought an Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader board game and we made it into a drinking game. Are you drunker than a fifth grader?
I was not there for that.
Great, dude. So good. So good. It was basically trivia, and if you got it wrong, you had to hammer beers.
There was a time that I don't know if you were around, but we have a friend. His spelling. So the game, without giving away his name, the game was one of our buddies built a almost like a Wheel of Fortune wheel, smaller, of course.
Okay.
And it was a drinking game, and you'd spin the wheel, and you would do different tasks. And if you didn't get it, you'd have to like down a beer or take a shot, whatever. But one of the things on there was always we have a friend, who it was always a goofball, and one time took the head off of a college statue.
Okay, all right, yeah, I'm there. I'm with you on that one. Okay.
And so the game was called, and so his last name started with a P, and the game was called Spelling Bee versus his name P, and so when you would land on it, and you're like, well, he's not here. Well, his phone number was written on it, so regardless of where he was, you would call him up. And you would,
that's so good.
And if he spelled it correctly, you don't have to drink. So you always knew you had to drink.
Right, yeah. Sure. I was say I did not partake in this, but I do. I'm familiar with the situation. Yeah.
You weren't there for that either. Yeah, but what are we naming this episode?
I think I'm not sure. Politics round 1, Politico round 7.
Round one, not round 7, because that wouldn't make sense.
Politics round 2, Electric Boogaloo. Probably.
Well, no, also wouldn't make sense.
But that is going to be the second round. There's got to be an Electric Boogaloo in there somewhere for sure.
All right. Well, politics round 1. Hide your gun. Done.
I think we should throw salami in the title somehow for sure.
I don't know. I need to know now because I'm uploading this, you know?
Oh, this is going on? Yeah. Just go with round 1 then. We'll leave salami out of it.
All right.
We'll leave salami out of it.
That's fine.
All right. Well, that's been good.
That's it.
I've been and am Mike.
Yeah. And I am still Jake.
And we will be back next Wednesday.
Yeah.
With another riveting adventure to take you on about things that you wouldn't say out loud.
Well, stuff you wouldn't say out loud.
And things, both of which we will be talking about.
Sure.
Next Wednesday.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Later.